Hi and welcome back on my channel to this brand new video. Now in this video I want to give you a brief overview on the topic of KNX IP so that you know how you can use it and what is important to know. And therefore I would say we directly hop into it. So first of all, what is KNX IP? Well, as the title suggests, KNX IP is the KNX communication via the network, so via IP. So if we take a look at KNX, KNX supports up to 4 or 5 different media types. The common one that you typically combine with the name of KNX is the twisted pair media type, which basically is the green bus wire, where you connect all your KNX devices to it and then they can communicate via this bus wiring. And besides that, KNX also supports KNX IP. But what can it be used for? Well, first of all, KNX IP can be used to connect KNX IP devices to your installation. So there are dedicated KNX IP devices, even though that aren't that many. So for example, you have the VineCL Multi-IO that has a direct KNX IP connection, or for example, industrial controllers like PLCs that can be connected via KNX IP or KNX servers and visualizations. So those are the common KNX IP devices. But besides that, you can also use KNX IP, or this is the most common use case for KNX IP, to connect multiple KNX twisted pair installations together. So you have a KNX twisted pair line or multiple KNX twisted pair lines and you want to connect them with each other. You can easily achieve that via KNX IP without the need to install any additional KNX bus wiring. The only thing that you need in this case is a KNX IP router that you install to the KNX twisted pair installation, and then the KNX IP router converts the TP telegram into an IP telegram and vice versa. And with that, it's super easy to connect multiple twisted pair lines together. Oh, by the way, at this point I have a small request for you, because I have seen in the statistics that over 85% of the viewers aren't subscribed to the channel, and that can be changed pretty easily. Simply hit the subscribe button. This has the advantage that you get informed when new videos are uploaded to this channel, and you show me that you really like what I'm doing here on the channel. And the advantage without any additional costs. So I would be really thankful if you would hit the subscribe button, and when you are with it, maybe also hit the like button on this video. That would really support me. And with that, let's come back to KNX IP. Because what we now need to take a look at is how KNX IP works. But before we do that, we first of all take a look at KNX IP twisted pair. Because when we take a look at KNX twisted pair, you see how KNX in general works. So when you hit a button, a push button on the KNX twisted pair installation, what happens? Well, you can simply open up the group monitor to see it. Because when you hit the push button, obviously it has to be parameterized in the first hand, then the push button sends a KNX telegram onto the twisted pair line. And if you take a look at this telegram, you'll see that the destination address or the destination field of this telegram isn't any particular device, but instead simply the group address. That means that this is a so-called multicast message, because multiple, or in this case even broadcast, because all the devices on the twisted pair installation receive this telegram. And then they decide, based on the group address and their parameterization, if they have to react to it. So this is basically how KNX twisted pair works. Now the question is, KNX IP, there it's fundamentally other, because when we take a look at the network communication, you typically have an IP address to which you send the messages. So you have a direct connection. So for example, if you open up YouTube, then you don't address every server out there on the World Wide Web, but only the specific YouTube server. Just as a small explanation. And even though this is the case, KNX on the IP side basically works the same like on the twisted pair side. And this is because of the so-called multicast address or multicast messages. What this is? Well, basically, you maybe have seen it already in the EDS. In KNX, we have a specific multicast address. This is an IP address that is reserved for the KNX communication. In specific, this is the 224.0.23.12. And this IP address is used for all the KNX telegrams. So on the IP side, we have a multicast communication. So the same behavior like in twisted pair, when a push button is pressed, now in this case a KNX IP device sends a telegram, well then it sends the telegram to this multicast address. Then all the KNX IP devices on the network see that this is the multicast address, they react to it, and then they do the same thing like on twisted pair. They check the group address, check their parameterization, and then based on that do something. So for example, a visualization server shows the response or the current status of the light, etc. So you see, even though we use IP, the functionality is basically the same like we have in KNX twisted pair. But sometimes this may cause some problems. Or not this, but some routers may cause some problem. Because some routers and switches use IGMP snooping. IGMP snooping is typically used to enhance the multicast communication. But my personal experience, and not only my personal, but also when you take a look at some forums, there are oftentimes this IGMP snooping on some devices cause errors in the KNX IP communication. So if you have problems with it, maybe check your routers and switches, disable IGMP snooping to check if this maybe solves the problem. If not, well, then you have some other errors, obviously. So this is basically what you should know for the KNX IP communication. Now I mentioned that you oftentimes use KNX IP to connect multiple twisted pair lines with each other. And this is achieved via KNX IP routers. Now if you want to do that, so you want to use KNX IP routers, then I would recommend you to take a look at those routers and only use routers that support KNX Secure, to be specific KNX IP Secure. Because when you connect, especially when you connect the KNX IP installation to your normal network installation, so to the outside world, then it's recommended to use KNX IP Secure. That means that you use those KNX IP routers that support Secure. And the only thing that you have to do in the parameterization or when you add this device to your EDS project is that you have to scan the device certificate, set up a project password, and then enable the secure IP communication. This then results in that the IP side of the routers are secured. And if you maybe have also some data secure devices, so KNX twisted pair secure devices, then also this communication is secured. But for me personally, it's much more important that the IP side is secured. Besides that, you can also use the KNX IP router as a programming interface, which definitely is a benefit against the conventional KNX line coupler. That means, for example, when you open up the EDS, it will automatically check if a router or an interface is available and you can directly use it without the need to install a USB interface, etc. Now the difference between a KNX IP router and a KNX IP interface I have already explained in a dedicated videos. So if you want to know more about that, then definitely check out this video. In short, the KNX IP interface has nothing to do with KNX IP or the communication that we just talked about. A KNX IP interface basically is a direct connection to your twisted pair installation, and if you open up one of those tunneling connections, typically IP interfaces have, for example, 8 tunneling connections, so that means 8 different devices can use this interface. Then you also have a direct communication, so a unicast communication between the end device and the IP interface. So it has nothing to do with KNX IP as such. Now, as we talked about KNX IP security, another thing that I would highly recommend you is that you don't use port forwarding. So don't open up any ports on your router for KNX. Instead, use virtual private networks or something else. Especially if you don't know what you are doing. I mean, if you know what you are doing, you probably don't need to watch this video. And because of that, the KNX Association has also developed a small security tool that you can check out. I have linked it down below, with which you can easily check if you have opened up such a port, because that's a high security risk for your KNX installation. And there were cases with which hackers intruded the KNX system and parameterized it, blocked it, etc. So make sure you don't use port forwarding. And that's basically, in short, what you need to know about KNX IP. So let us quickly summarize. KNX IP uses multicast communication. You can use it, for example, to connect multiple KNX twisted pair lines with each other with the use of KNX IP routers, and then you can also connect dedicated KNX IP devices to your installation. If you use KNX IP, then I would recommend you to use it only in secure, so you use KNX IP secure routers, and never use port forwarding. That's also something that you should bear in mind. Besides that, if you now want to know more about KNX IP or also the difference between an interface and a KNX IP router, check out the dedicated videos or my video courses over on Udemy. There I have a dedicated video course on the topic of KNX in general or also KNX and Home Assistant. I have linked it down below in the video description. Would be really great to welcome you in one of those courses. Besides that, if you have any questions left or any comments, then use the comment section here on YouTube. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button and also the like button. And then I would say, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.